LPGA just did everything that the WNBA should have been doing this season. They did it all correct in literally one day.
Caitlin Clark recently signed an absolutely crazy agreement. You won't believe what just transpired, and it's creating quite a commotion. The WNBA has been rocked by this news, and social media is ablaze with responses. This story demonstrates that an athlete's triumph is obviously another's pain. Everything for the WNBA is altered by this. The unchallenged queen of endorsements, Caitlin Clark, just landed a huge sponsorship deal with the LPGA Tour. We're not referring to a little partnership. This is a multi-million-dollar contract in its entirety. It's connected to her empowerment, excellence, and image. And as soon as it fell, the internet exploded. Clark's unquestionable success is being celebrated by fans, but other WNBA veterans are not pleased. Let's introduce A.A. Wilson. Although she didn't mention names, her message was very apparent. Are you implying that you can still receive golf money even if you miss shots? That's pure gold now. Every sports blog is talking about her, and everyone is aware of who she is referring to. Take a moment to process that. Half of the league physically reacts negatively to Caitlin Clark's name. Every action, every offer, and every post makes someone go crazy. The tension has now reached an unprecedented height because to this LPGA arrangement. Other celebrities now feel like supporting characters because Clark has turned into the league's much-needed marketing goldmine. Despite having 2 MVP awards and numerous championships, A'ja Wilson seldom ever gets mentioned in the same context as Clark when discussing endorsements. That's actually why this tale went viral. The old guard and the emerging star power are engaged in combat. Additionally, the media's newest shiny toy is Clark. Wilson is a symbol of the grind, the player who ruled before the cameras showed up.
Previous video how this Pro-Am event originally wasn't even going to be televised, but there were so many fans who were emailing the organization saying, how can we watch Caitlin? Can we come to the event? Can you live stream it? All of these things. And it ended up being put on television. And that was great. Fans were really excited about that. There was so much buzz online. She was trending on Twitter, all of the things. And the LPGA was promoting the crap out of this event. And they also did something really smart by pairing her up with their currently #1 golfer in the
Wilson's post was more than simply a jab when this LPGA agreement came up. It was a shout of combat. To be honest, you can't hold her responsible. The timing was cruel. Finishing a tremendous season while receiving a little portion of the publicity that Clark receives for his breathing. The media is primarily interested in Clark's Instagram narrative, which is similar to winning a title. It's the reality of contemporary sports, even though it sucks. It's not always about your skill level. It has to do with the number of eyes you bring. And nobody draws more attention than Caitlin Clark. The sponsors, the LPGA, and companies with marketing expenditures all saw it. They are looking for someone who keeps the internet buzzing, sells tickets, and moves merchandise. Despite her talent, A'ja Wilson has never been that kind of person. Although she is respected, she doesn't make headlines. The fact that Caitlin Clark is a tail machine makes some of these veterans go crazy. Rumor has it that this 2-year LPGA deal is valued between $6 and $8 million. Clark is currently a dual-sport marketing machine that serves as a link between golf and basketball. From Las Vegas, you can almost hear AJ gritting his teeth. She has previously been eclipsed by Clark. Do you recall the WNBA finals? Clark was the most popular trending subject that day, and the Aces won. That is the type of stuff that breeds animosity instead of respect. Fans are adding gasoline to the flames, which makes things worse. Clark supporters claim she is the true face of the league and use her success to disparage others. These remarks are fuel for an ego fight even when they are statistically correct. A'ja so jerked just enough to convey a strong statement when she saw that LPGA announcement. Being the MVP and being viewed as a supporting role is getting old to me. The humorous part, though, comes after. Caitlin Clark has never responded with a clap. She does not even recognize the controversy, tweet, or shade. Brands adore her because of this. She is a dream for public relations. Others lose sponsors as a result of becoming involved in Twitter arguments. Clark simply continues to sign contracts while remaining quiet. Furthermore, that silence is more painful than any derogatory remarks. She has a chance to win another ring. However, Clark's golf ball hitting will continue to garner media attention. That is the marketing power differential. It's real, yet it's unfair. Even golf enthusiasts are applauding, hoping Clark becomes a mainstream player on the LPGA. She's everywhere but the playoffs, according to some WNBA fans who are rolling their eyes. The league is aware of the widening rift. This is where the situation becomes even more intriguing. This LPGA transaction wasn't arbitrary. It took months to develop. Clark was the ideal face for Nike's athlete crossover image, which they reportedly helped arrange. She is Buzz's representative. Each league that collaborates with her experiences an increase in views, clicks, and sales of merchandise. From a corporate perspective, it's brilliant, but for the WNBA, it's anarchy. Aha Wilson's annoyance reflects what many players are silently contemplating. Not everyone is equally benefiting from Clark's worldwide celebrity. The WNBA seems to have been boosted by the Caitlin Clark effect, but only for a select few. The others are still holding out for the tide to reach them. Additionally, some players feel totally left behind now that she is extending her influence outside of basketball. While Clark signs multi-million-dollar contracts outside of her sport, they are battling for bonuses. That is the type of thing that makes interviews and locker rooms tense. And the Caitlin Show, players are beginning to feel like props. And that enthusiasm is being noticed by fans. Fans criticized Aha for being resentful and envious when her message went viral. She was even likened by some to the people who were complaining about Tiger Woods. That analogy was painful. Azza attempted to retract it by claiming that she was kidding, but the internet had already made up its mind and social media is what it is. It turns into a circus once people start taking sides. There are a ton of comments supporting Clark and reminding everyone that Wilson is among the greatest of all time. Here's the reality, though. It is possible for both to be true. Azza Wilson may still feel undervalued, and Caitlin Clark may be the most marketable athlete. How the league manages that balance is the issue. The WNBA boasts about growth, but instead of celebrating, its own stars are fighting, and the league allows it to happen because conflict attracts attention. The WNBA would turn this into a marketing victory if they had a good public relations staff. Watch these two incredible athletes dominate their respective sports. Rather, it's just another social media feud between Caitlin and her employer, and you can guarantee sponsors took notice. Happy united faces, not sloppy headlines, are what brands desire. However, they are also aware that their products sell out whenever Clark trends. Guess who wins, then? Once more, Caitlin. The twist is here. This partnership might be the beginning of something bigger, according to people close to the LPGA. They intend to start a charity exhibition event that will highlight cross-sport sisterhood. However, given the current state of affairs, this may either be the most motivating occasion in history or a completely tense catastrophe. Can you picture Aya Wilson trying to grin as Clark teeters off next to Nelly Korda? Prime content is that. To be honest, though, this is nothing new. This jealousy has been observed previously. Older players weren't delighted when LeBron became the face of the NBA. Others rolled their eyes at Serena's dominating tennis endorsements. The cycle is the same. Money comes from success, visibility produces jealousy, and visibility brings money. The most recent athlete to be caught in that emotional crossfire is Azza. The sad portion comes next. She doesn't even realize how much she's proving Clark's value every time she reacts. She grows larger the more you talk about her. For sports fame, it's comparable to the Straits and effect. Whine about someone enough, and they become much more relevant. Caitlin Clark, meanwhile, has remained silent. No clapbacks, no interviews, just business as normal. While the internet battles for her, she's most likely laughing with her agent and signing her next deal. And, to be honest, that could have been the best course of action. Because she's piling checks from tech, fashion, golf, and basketball while everyone else is fighting. Before you know it, she will be working on a documentary series for Netflix. Caitlin Clark is not merely acting. She is changing the way it is advertised. Additionally, A'ja Wilson is still attempting to determine why her two MVPs receive different amounts of credit. It has nothing to do with A'ja's lack of talent. She is amazing. Clark has visibility, which is what companies want. You can establish your brand around her. Loyal, boisterous, and constantly online is her fan base. That's 2025 gold. Therefore, Clark is creating an empire while AA complains on Twitter. The true question, though, is this. How much longer can this tension persist before it becomes more significant? Because it's no longer just about Caitlin and AA. The league might be divided by this entire dynamic. The younger generation of fans believes that Clark is solely responsible for the league's resurgence, while the older players believe that she takes things too easy. The WNBA front office stands somewhere in the center, acting as though nothing is wrong and secretly hoping that both sides continue to communicate because at least people are listening. It's disorganized. It's dramatic. And that's precisely what keeps the news stories coming. However, the WNBA will ultimately undermine the togetherness they have worked so hard to create if they are unable to handle this. Because Caitlin Clark has undoubtedly expanded the league, regardless of your feelings toward her. Making sure that everyone, not just her, gains from that is the current challenge. Regarding A'ja Wilson, she has two choices. Continue sending her nasty-looking tweets, or change course and take advantage of the attention. Because of Clark, her name is currently trending, which is not how an MVP should live in the spotlight. If she's clever, she'll use it as leverage, land her own big contract, start a podcast, establish a brand, or do something else to prove she's more than the player who lost it online. Fans detest pettiness, but they adore authenticity. Caitlin Clark, meanwhile, continues to triumph on and off the court. The LPGA deal is but one more component of her expanding business. And whether you like her or not, she is playing the fame game flawlessly. You can't teach her that kind of control. She's using silence as a tactic and criticism as publicity. If A'ja Wilson doesn't change her ways soon, she will continue to be ignored. What do you think? Is Caitlin Clark simply outperforming everyone off the court as well, or is A'ja Wilson justified in her rage? Leave your comments below and subscribe.